Earth is full of several mysterious places where strangers dare not set foot, as doing so could be their last. These places have become the stuff of legends with mysterious stories surrounding them. Let us begin with Death Road, Bolivia. Officially known as Yungas Road, this infamous stretch cuts through the Bolivian Andes like a scar, about 43 miles, 70 kilometers, of unpaved madness, twisting between La Paz and Coroico. One side hugs the mountain, the other drops into a 2,000-foot, 610-meter pit. Locals call it El Camino de la Muerte, Death Road, for a reason. Over 300 people once died here annually. Today, it's been partly modernized, but the original road still attracts adrenaline junkies on mountain bikes. Slick mud, fog, and blind corners mean one mistake could send you over the edge, literally. And yet, for some, that's the appeal. Ride it, and you'll earn the right to say you danced with death and made it out alive. Volcano boarding, Nicaragua. How do you spice up a volcanic hike? You throw yourself down the side at 50 miles per hour, 80 kilometers per hour, on a glorified wooden sled. Welcome to Cerro Negro, Nicaragua, the only place where volcano boarding is not just a thing. It's the thing. This black cinder cone is still active. It last erupted in 1999. After a 45-minute uphill trek with your board in tow, you gear up in a jumpsuit and goggles. Then you slide down its 1,640-foot, 500-meter slope, skimming over volcanic gravel sharp enough to rip through clothing and skin. There are no brakes. There's no soft landing, just you, a board, and volcanic fury beneath you. It's not just fast, it's hot, it's unstable, and it's absolutely insane. Half Dome, USA. It's not just a hike, it's a pilgrimage. Rising 8,800 feet, 2,682 meters above sea level, Half Dome is Yosemite's crown jewel and its most feared ascent. The final stretch is infamous. 2 metal cables bolted into the rock help hikers scale the near-vertical granite face. No harness, no rope, just gloves, grip, and grit. One slip and it's a 500-foot, 152-meter free fall. Add sudden rain, lightning, or fatigue, and Half Dome turns from majestic to menacing. At least 20 people have died attempting the climb. But those who make it say the view from the top makes the fear worth it. Just don't look down. Mount Yasur, Vanuatu. Located on the coast near Sulphur Bay, this mountain is one of the world's largest active volcanoes. If you're an adventure seeker curious to feel the heat of the Earth's core, then this volcano might just be the next challenge for you. With small eruptions bubbling on a daily basis, this mountain is no stranger to visitors and travelers. Visitors usually try to get close to the crater and feel the heat of the volcano without turning to dust within the infernal lava. Yasur has erupted almost continuously for at least 800 years, earning its reputation as the lighthouse of the Pacific, with rhythmic strombolian and occasional volcanian bursts occurring multiple times per hour. Visitors can safely reach the crater rim via a short hike or rugged 4x4 route, where they witness intense explosions of glowing lava bombs, ash columns, and thunderous rumbles, a mesmerizing spectacle that blends natural power with raw, up-close drama. Mount Huashan, China. Imagine walking on wooden planks bolted to a cliff 7,000 feet, 2,134 meters above ground, with only a harness clipped to a rusty chain. Welcome to Mount Huashan's infamous plank walk, often dubbed the most dangerous hike in the world. Pilgrims once used this trail to reach a Taoist temple at the summit. Today, tourists from around the globe come to test their nerve. The path? About 12 inches, 30 centimeters, wide in parts. No bottom rail, no fallback. At times, there is no plank, just footholds carved into the cliff face and a prayer. Mount Huashan doesn't ask you to be fearless. It dares you to keep going despite the fear. Running of the Bulls, Spain. Each July, the streets of Pamplona transform into a chaotic arena where thrill-seekers outrun half-ton beasts with sharpened horns. Welcome to the Running of the Bulls. It's a 0.5-mile, 800-meter sprint from the corral to the bull ring. But it's not just running. It's dodging, weaving, and sometimes falling. 6 bulls, each weighing over 1,300 pounds, 590 kilograms, charge through narrow alleyways. The crowd's roar mixes with hoofbeats and adrenaline. People get gored, people get trampled, and yet every year they return. Because for some, survival isn't enough. They want to earn it with sweat, fear, and the pounding of hooves behind them. Number 7. Blood Falls, Antarctica. Antarctica is one of the remotest places on the planet. It is where the magnetic field of the Earth terminates and is occupied primarily by seals, penguins, and polar bears. Life is incredibly tough in Antarctica, with everything surrounding you being plain white ice and permafrost that dates back to the ice ages. And yet, even in this eerily sterile place, there is one mystery that has left scientists baffled. If you visit the McMurdo Dry Valleys in the Taylor Glacier, you will find a sight so puzzling it will leave you both shocked and amazed at the same time. There is a point in the glacier where pure red water flows out of a crevice into the ocean. Scientists wondered for ages how blood-red waters were being ejected in a place where there was only ice for miles around. Discovered by Griffith Taylor in 1911, it was hypothesized that this bright red color was perhaps due to red algae, but no traces of algae could be found for miles around. With the advancement of science, more tests were conducted, and it was discovered that this water originated from a subglacial lake that was left unexposed to the surface for 1.5 million years and is hypersaline in nature, allowing it to stay liquid even below freezing temperature. But how does this make the water red, you ask? Well, there's a concentrated amount of iron in this water that oxidizes as soon as it hits the air, just like rust. Now, if red subglacial lakes aren't your thing, wait till you see what's coming up next. Number 6. Lake Hillier, Australia. Now we've seen a subglacial lake in Antarctica that spews blood-red water like an open wound. But if you come a few miles north, you'll reach the wonderful continent of Australia, where a more amazing sight is waiting to be discovered. Once you reach Australia, make sure to not eat any funny mushrooms on the way, because the sight you'll see when you reach Middle Island in the Recherche Archipelago out in Western Australia is weird enough. If you go by flight and look down, you'll notice a large body of water about 600 meters long and 250 meters wide amongst all the green trees. But this one has something off about it. If you look a little closer, you'll realize that it's pink in color. Don't worry, your eyes aren't tricking you. This is Hillier Lake, and it is the only known pink-colored lake in the world. What's more stunning about this location is that this pink effect does not come from any sort of optical illusion, but rather because it is well and truly pink in color. You could even scoop some water into a container, and you'd notice that it retains its pink color. What could the reason behind this wonderful effect be? Well, it boils down to a combination of factors. The first is that the lake is rich in a microorganism called Dunaliella salina, which produces a beta-carotene pigment that is red in color to protect itself from the intense Australian sun. This mixed in with other factors like the strong presence of sodium bicarbonate and other chemicals gives the lake its iconic pink color. Number 5. Yonaguni Monument, Japan. Now, we have all heard about the fabled and mythical city of Atlantis, the great city that floated on the water and was wiped out by Poseidon's wrath. But what if we told you that the story of Atlantis might actually be far from fiction and actually closer to reality than we think? There's just one twist, though. Instead of the Mediterranean, it may actually be located in the Japanese Ocean. If you go to the southernmost part of Japan and go a little past the coast of the Yonaguni Island and take a dive into the deep blue ocean, you'll find a peculiar rock formation staring back at you. You'll see steps cut into the rock at the ocean bed, which look suspiciously man-made. This mysterious discovery was made in 1986 by a local diver, Kiichiro Aratake, who was searching for hammerhead sharks. This site immediately caught the attention of the Archaeological Department of Japan. Dr. Masaki Kimura, upon surveying the site, believed that they had stumbled upon the first well-preserved evidence of an advanced civilization that may even predate the Egyptians. Upon further investigation and excavation, Dr. Masaki discovered that it wasn't just steps that were waiting to be discovered. He discovered evidence for an entire city with remnants of pillars, roads, and even a stage. Dr. Masaki has concluded that this is either the most perfect coincidence in history, or it truly is an ancient civilization, and if so, it would reshape our very understanding of human history. Number 4. Catatumbo lightning, Venezuela. They say lightning never strikes twice, but if you come to Lake Maracaibo in Venezuela, you would see that it's far from the actual truth, because the lightning here never stops striking. Lightning in this area strikes so very frequently, it almost feels like there's someone throwing lightning bolts on purpose. The locals have nicknamed this phenomenon Catatumbo lightning, which means house of lightning in their language. It is also called the beacon of Maracaibo, as it lights up the sky at night without rest, so much so that it almost looks like a lighthouse's beacon. And if you think that's crazy, just know that this location has won the Guinness World Record for most lightning strikes per square kilometer per year, with it averaging nearly 1 million bolts per year. You might be wondering how the locals live with the noise, considering that the lightning strikes nearly 280 times per hour for nearly 10 hours at a stretch every night. But the twist is that this lightning produces no sound, as the sound of thunder dissipates before it can travel the distance. Scientists have hypothesized that the reason behind this lightning might have to do with the atmospheric currents, where hot and cold air meet together and form a convection current that circulates between the mountain and lake. It's even been theorized that the methane from the local wetlands and the deposits of uranium deep in the bedrock are to blame for this never-ending light show. But if you think that's mysterious, wait till you see what's in store. Number 3. Nazca Lines, Peru. If you walk along the deserts of Peru, there is a good chance that you would walk by one of the world's greatest unsolved mysteries, and you wouldn't even know it. We are talking about the Nazca Lines, of course, one of early civilization's greatest feats of not just art, but science and astronomy as well. What are the Nazca Lines, you ask? Well, they are artworks composed of several straight lines that have been etched right into the ground of the Peruvian desert, and these murals are so very large that they are unnoticeable when you stand on the ground and can only be observed from a high vantage point. These drawings have been traced back to the ancient Nazcans, and it is believed that these murals served a purpose that is currently beyond our understanding. These lines are not random either. They form shapes of many animals, ranging from lizards to snakes to dogs and even whales. But some of these geoglyphs form shapes that are just too eerie to ignore, like one that looks suspiciously like an astronaut. Historians, archaeologists, and anthropologists have determined that these lines change the very understanding of what we know about ancient civilization, as each of these shapes is not just drawn randomly, but carefully measured out, and some even line up with constellations. This goes to show that the Nazcan people understood more complex ideas of geometry, measurement, cosmology, and astronomy than we were led to believe. Many conspiracy theorists even believe that these lines were made with the help of aliens. Now, while all of these are hypotheses, let's look at an actual mystery so terrifying that it'll have you up at night. Number 2. Roanoke Island, North Carolina, USA. What would you do if you ventured into your neighboring town one day and discovered that the entire town had been deserted overnight with not even a single trace of the inhabitants left behind? Well, that's exactly what search parties discovered on Roanoke Island in 1587. Well, how did an entire colony of people go missing, you ask? Well, the answer is yet to be discovered. As the story goes, in 1587, 117 settlers moved into Roanoke Island in an attempt to colonize the place and make it their own. Roanoke is also famous because Virginia Dare, the first ever English child born in the Americas, was born on Roanoke. When supplies on the island began running low, John White, the person who led the settlers, went to the mainland to gather supplies and expected to return within 3 months. But a war broke out, which delayed his return by 3 whole years. When John was finally able to make the trip back to Roanoke in 1590, he was met with a surprise. The entire island was deserted. There was no trace of any struggle, but there was no trace of there being any settlers wanting to leave the island either. The only clue as to their whereabouts was carved into a wooden post, which had the word Croatoan etched into it. Did the settlers move to the nearby Croatoan Island? Or was it something more mysterious? Sadly, the mystery behind this lost colony has never been solved. Number 1. Face of Antarctica, Antarctica. Imagine you're looking down from space through a telescope at the great white expanse of Antarctica. But to your horror, you see a face staring back at you. Well, this isn't science fiction because in 2012, users of Google Maps made the very same shocking discovery on Oats Land, a desolate part of the massive icy landmass. This human-like face, which seems to be carved into the side of a mountain, staring out of the mountain ridge and half covered in snow, has had many people scratching their heads for years now. Many theorize that this eerie face with slit-like eyes, a nose, and frowning mouth may actually be a face that was made by some advanced civilization that predates everyone else and is now lying there in the snow waiting to be rediscovered. While some have accepted that it's just an optical illusion, many online theorists are adamant that this could be the first solid evidence of an alien civilization. And if so, we could be standing on the answer to the most important question in the 21st century as to if we are truly alone in the universe. Number 1. North Sentinel Island. What if I told you that there is an island where the inhabitants still have not discovered how to make fire? It sounds impossible, but the existence of North Sentinel Island proves otherwise. North Sentinel Island is part of the Andaman and Nicobar archipelago in the Bay of Bengal and is governed by the government of India. The island itself is around 60 square kilometers in size and inhabited by the Sentinelese people, an isolated tribe of people who have not been in direct contact with the outside world and have actively resisted any attempts made by the outside world to contact them. The island is surrounded by coral reefs and lacks any natural harbors, making it nearly impossible to access. But why would the island be restricted from the public? Well, it's because the Sentinelese kills any person who attempts to contact them. They are highly hostile and will use their bows and arrows to shoot down anyone who steps foot on their island. A few deadly encounters have happened over the years. The first incident taking place in 2006, when 2 fishermen were killed by the Sentinelese when they strayed too close to the island, and a more recent incident taking place in 2018, where a missionary named John Allen Chow, despite knowing that contact with the Sentinelese is forbidden, tried to illegally gain access to them and was killed by them. The government of India has banned access to the island and has declared an area of 5 kilometers surrounding the island as off-limits. This is not just to protect people from being hurt by the Sentinelese, but also to protect the Sentinelese from us. They are direct descendants of the first human populations and have lived in isolation for an estimated 50,000 years. As their immunity would not have come into contact with any modern disease, any sort of potential contact with the outside world could prove fatal to them. Number 2. Surtsey Island, Iceland. While every other location has garnered a reputation over the years for being dangerous or unsafe to the public, Surtsey Island has been declared off-limits for the exact opposite reason. Before we understand why the public is dangerous to this island, we have to know the story behind this island. In the year 1963, an underwater eruption took place along the North Atlantic Ridge off the southern coast of Iceland. This ridge is formed by the conjunction of 2 tectonic plates, the Eurasian and North American plates. which are constantly drifting apart from each other. This eruption in particular was so violent and strong that it lasted for a total of 4 years before subsiding. The constant eruption formed a mound of ash and lava on the ocean surface, which rapidly cooled to form an island 2.7 square kilometers in size. But erosion has weathered it down to a size of 1.3 square kilometers as of today. Surtsey Island is one of the first times that humans witnessed how islands and new landmasses are formed on the planet. But more importantly, for the first time ever, scientists were able to observe the process of ecological succession in real time occurring on a landmass. Humanity was able to see just how individual species of flora and fauna fight for dominance on an unclaimed and fresh landmass. By the end of the year, the eruption had ended. Scientists saw that the first species of moss and lichens started taking over. Seeing this rare and amazing opportunity before them, the scientific community decided to ban access to the island unless authorization was obtained from the proper authorities. This island receives only a few visitors every year, and the few who do come are scientists on specialized missions to check up on how the process of succession is taking place on this island. This island has given scientists the chance to observe how both flora and fauna interact with each other to create a living ecosystem. Number 3. Doomsday Vault, Norway. Off the coast of Norway exists one of humanity's last hopes for rebuilding civilization. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault, better known as the Doomsday Vault, is located on the remote Arctic island of Spitsbergen in the Svalbard archipelago and is built into the face of a sandstone mountain. This vault houses crop seeds of every available kind on this planet. The Doomsday Vault is an initiative undertaken by the Norwegian government to answer the question, what would we do if we lost all our flora in an instant? This vault began being built in 2004 and was completed in 2008. Although efforts to conserve every variety of plant seeds had already been undertaken by the Nordic Gene Bank in 1984, it was being done at an abandoned coal mine, which wasn't ideal. They also weren't able to obtain international samples of plant seeds due to a lack of regulatory and legal frameworks. But once the International Treaty on Plant Genetic Resources for Food and Agriculture, or ITPGRFA for short, was adopted, they were able to get the go-ahead on an international security facility, which eventually became the Doomsday Vault. The vault was built by the Norwegian government in consultation with the Nordic Gene Bank, now called Nordgene, and a non-profit organization called Crop Trust. The location is designed as a highly secure vault that houses duplicate samples of seeds from various gene banks all over the world. The vault has the capacity to store over 4.5 million different seed samples, and as of now, has over 1.2 million, making this place the largest and most diverse collection of crop and plant seeds in the world. Only a handful of scientists and technical staff are allowed within the vault. It is a highly secure facility that is guarded around the clock to ensure that no one tampers with the seed samples. And if you thought that was amazing, wait till you see this next location. Number 4. Snake Island, Brazil. Snake Island, or Ilha da Queimada Grande, as it is officially known, is an unimpressive island that seems to present no danger until you set foot on its shores. This small, rocky island located around 33 kilometers off the coast of Brazil is one of the scariest places you can visit if you're someone who's scared of snakes. This island is strictly prohibited to the public and no one is allowed to visit it unless specifically authorized on official business like scientific research and venom sample collection. You might be thinking that it's not that dangerous and that there can't be that many snakes on one single island to prohibit anyone from going there. Well, that's where you're wrong. Snake Island has such a dense population of snakes that it's estimated that there are an average of 5 snakes per square meter of the island. And to make matters worse, this island is tiny, with a size of only 100 acres or so. How did so many snakes end up on this island? Well, the island was actually part of the mainland at one point around 11,000 years ago, but as the sea level gradually rose, the island ended up getting cut off from the mainland, which caused the population of snakes on the island to get isolated. This island has such a dense population of snakes that it's a strictly no-land zone for any civilian boats. But in addition to this, the island is also home to a species of snake called golden lancehead, which is found nowhere else in the world. The venom of the golden lancehead is so very deadly that it causes rapid tissue deterioration and internal bleeding in any animal affected by its venom. If left untreated, it is fatal to humans as well. If you feel adventurous and want to visit this island, don't say we didn't warn you if you get bit. Number 5. Area 51, USA. Now it's obvious why places like Snake Island are forbidden for the public to visit, but Area 51 is a completely different story. Nobody knows why this mysterious site has been restricted from public access, and the theories surrounding this location are numerous, with each theory getting crazier as you explore them. Area 51 is a highly classified U.S. military base that has had not just an air of secrecy, but also danger surrounding it for the longest time. Although established in the 1950s with the purpose of testing U-2 bomber planes, the existence of this airfield was only formally acknowledged in 2013 by the United States government because of the Roswell crash mystery associated with the site. Although the official story states that it was only a weather balloon that crashed in the Nevada desert in 1947, the rumors state that it was an alien craft instead, and it was recovered by the government and stored at Area 51, which is why it is so heavily guarded and monitored all the time. Area 51 is easily one of the most secure places on the planet. The boundary of the base extends about 12 kilometers from the base itself, keeping the base from any prying eyes. Many signs and warnings mark the boundary of the base, stating how the area that people are about to cross into is strictly forbidden. A strict no-fly zone is also implemented. An airspace of 1,100 kilometers is reserved for the base, and no other flights are allowed into the base without prior authorization. So if you feel like storming into Area 51 like those folks in 2019, get ready to be picked up by the authorities, interrogated, fined, and prosecuted. Number 6. Lascaux Caves, France. Just like Area 51, the Lascaux Caves have prohibited the public from visiting. But unlike Area 51, we know exactly why. These caves are home to some of the earliest examples of human culture and art, which have been dated to be around 17,000 years old. Well, what exactly is in the Lascaux Caves? The Lascaux Caves in France contain some of the most ancient murals ever discovered. These murals have been traced back to the Magdalenian people and are some of the best preserved works of cave art ever discovered. Discovered initially by 4 teenagers in 1940 on accident, it was soon revealed that this series of caves located near the village of Montignac in the Dordogne region of southwestern France held the largest collection of ancient cave art that had ever been discovered. With over 600 frescoes and 1,500 engravings spread across the network of caves, it was truly a feast for historians and archaeologists who got an exclusive glimpse into the lives of hunter-gatherer societies. It was initially open to the public, who were allowed to visit the cave, but the sudden excess of carbon dioxide and bacteria from the visitors caused the historically untouched paintings to get damaged. The site was eventually closed off to preserve the integrity of the paintings, and a replica museum of the paintings was opened. Now wait till you see the final place on this list. It's going to blow your mind. Number 7. Pluto's Gate, Turkey. Pluto's Gate is an ancient Greco-Roman religious site in Turkey that still has many superstitions surrounding it, and a truly deadly legend behind it. This ancient temple, dedicated to the Greek god Hades, and eventually the Roman god Pluto, has claimed the lives of many unsuspecting animals and foolish travelers that have dared to venture too close to the site. This temple is built right atop an ancient cave, which gives this site its mysterious properties. As the tales go, any person or animal that dared to venture into the cave would find themselves struggling to breathe and die within a few minutes of stepping inside. The only ones who were able to survive entering the cave were the priests called Galli. This made many believe that the place was actually a gateway between the plane of the living and the dead. Worshippers thought that the realm of Hades could be accessed via this cave. Add to the fact that small animals and birds were dropping dead frequently at the mouth of the cave, only added to this belief. What really was the secret behind this cave then? Well, the answer is much more complicated than any explanation of what the Greeks and Romans had to offer. The cave was actually a structure that lay atop a deep volcanic fissure. From this fissure, many toxic gases were frequently emitted, one of the primary gases being carbon dioxide. This gas often rose up to the ground in the mouth of the cave, where animals that were attracted by the warm air would come in and almost immediately drop dead due to the suffocation caused by the carbon dioxide. Visitors who come to the Plutonian, as it's called, are only allowed to observe the cave from afar, as the concentration of carbon dioxide gas in the surrounding area is dangerously high, especially at the mouth of the cave. This location is so deadly that there are records dating all the way to the 1st century BC, when the historian Strabo talked about how the cave claimed the lives of many unaware victims and animals that wandered too close to the cave.